I've had plenty of wild nights on the Gold Coast, but nothing like this. Thank you for watching us as we are bringing you the early moments of Tropical Cyclone Alfred, blowing a gale, dumping an awful lot of rain, particularly a little further south in Coolangatta, where I am right now in Broadbeach. There are these strange little stops and starts, but when it hits, it is hitting hard. It only gets harder from here. In a moment, another Queensland perspective. And again, as I said before, fun to see what kids do when they've got the day off school. They're not putting anyone in danger. Something fun in a moment or two's time. But can I explain again, around this more than 60,000 homes which have now lost their power, the vast majority down here on the Gold Coast. One of the reasons that took place was because there was a giant tree which fell on a substation. That knocked things out. So remember, this is part of the whole picture, isn't it? It's not just about how hard the wind is, it's what it breaks. It's not just how heavy the rain is, it's what it loosens. That, of course, means why there's particular worry about a tree branch falling off a couple of doors down and coming into your house. There's plenty of examples and lots of pictures that are around today of houses that have already been flattened. Certainly the beach erosion is pretty obvious. That's been taking place here, well, for many a day, and it's only going to get worse from here. Many of the lifeguard towers are teetering as we speak. All right, let's get into a chat here with Alison Osborne from Sky News Weather. Alison, what is the information that you have for us about the latest and the expectation for the next little while?
Paul, we've already seen a noticeable escalation of weather impacts to parts of northeastern New South Wales in the last few hours, and southeastern Queensland will quickly follow. Now, we have been talking about all of the trees down from damaging winds across the northern rivers and the Gold Coast, more than 120 kilometres per hour, and those winds are strengthening over the next 12 hours or so. And of course, coastal erosion impacts continue as well. Now, Tropical Cyclone Alfred has remained a Category 2 storm throughout the day. It did strengthen a touch in its intensity as it approached the coast. It has now made a forecast west-northwesterly turn, and this is going to increase the threat of impacts to Brisbane and areas of southeastern Queensland. Here are the highest wind gusts recorded so far today, and as you can see, things have escalated. 98 kilometres per hour at the Gold Coast, Cape Morton Lighthouse 85. Brisbane has had a relatively calmer day. That's simply due to the position of Tropical Cyclone Alfred, focusing the worst impacts over coastal areas south of about the Gold Coast, sparing Brisbane for now, but that is set to change. If we take a look at the rain radar, Paul, we can see the stop-start nature of those squally showers for much of the day. The heavier, more persistent rain, though, is starting to settle on in. We can see the clockwise spiral. We can see the storm center from Tropical Cyclone Alfred. It is not far away, less than 60 kilometres off the coast. We can see those darker shades on the radar too, indicating heavier, more persistent rainfall rates. So the gauges are feeling already 112 millimetres at Lismore in the last 12 hours. Coffs Harbour has seen 40, Ballina at 27, but again, Brisbane missing out on the worst impact so far, just 3.4 millimetres. Now, the system is still forecast to continue on that west-northwesterly track and weaken in the early hours of the morning as it crosses the coast between Noosa and Beenleigh. Now, we can see the system likely to decay quite rapidly throughout the morning, Paul, but I do stress that doesn't mean that the impacts are going to be weak. So let's take a look at what's happening. So we can see the strongest winds in those red wind arrows and the heaviest rain in the black. That's focused to the south of the system. So if it passes to the north of Brisbane, this is going to drag the impacts of heaviest rain away from the northern rivers and then over southeastern Queensland. And that's likely to be a prolonged event lasting most of tomorrow morning. We're looking at 24-hour rainfall totals potentially exceeding 300 to 450 millimetres in the path of the storm, so that is still including the northern rivers and southeastern Queensland. But heavy rainfall rates could lead to flash flooding as far north as Double Island Point, as far inland as Toowoomba by tomorrow evening, and then as far south as Coffs Harbour. So still quite a wide-reaching weather event. Here are the current flood warnings. We have major flood warnings in place for the Logan River in Queensland, and then the rivers in the northern rivers, so the Tweed, the Brunswick, Richmond and Wilsons. The Wilsons River at Lismore already at moderate flood. It is rising overnight. And then across the mid-north coast, the Orara River, Bellinger River and Nambucca River also on a major flood warning. So we're likely to see those rivers rise overnight and then throughout the day tomorrow, long after Tropical Cyclone Alfred has weakened. So we will be tracking this event throughout the day on Sky News Weather Channel 601. But for now, we're just watching those rain gauges fill and the winds pick up. Paul?
Thank you so much, Alison. I really do appreciate it. All right, plenty more on Sky News Weather.